Hello, welcome to Simply Raby. I'm your host, Ed Raby. This is the channel where we have almost daily content that explores the issue of personal philosophy and belief and whether or not those personal philosophies are sound, based on planning, or we're just kind of falling into them and kind of trying to find the best way to live life so that we have a happy life. And we do that through simplicity. Today I'm getting a little bit more personal because part of my objective here is to show you some of the real struggles I have and some of the applications of philosophy that sometimes are difficult. But mostly last week I was given some homework by my therapist because we discussed, if those of you familiar with my other channel, The Rabid Atheist, you know that I had a long deconversion struggle. I'm past the deconversion struggle part, I think. I don't struggle with that near as much as I used to. What I struggle with now is who am I? The problem with my history with my religion is that I bought in very early. I went off to Bible college, got married, went off to Bible college very young, became a pastor, and never, like most people spend their young adulthood in that journey of discovery, of trying to find out who they are and find out where their place is in the world. I never really did that because I was convinced very early on when I was called into the ministry and I just needed to do this thing. I needed to do the thing. So I went off to Bible college, I went off to seminary, became a preacher. Never really had the journal of self-discovery of going, well, who the hell am I? After my deconversion, my main issue was how do I disentangle myself from all the mucky muck of religion. And as I became more and more atheist, just getting rid of spiritualism in general, and wishful thinking and all this other stuff, and starting to face reality a little bit more was the struggle. I've gotten to the point though where I think if Christianity and being religious and being a pastor robbed me of anything the most, it was the ability to have that journey of self-discovery. And so now I look back at it and I feel like I've been robbed, okay, and it's something we talk about. Well, with some of the discussions in my therapy sessions, I may be autistic, slightly autistic, which, could be possible. I have a lot of the signs of it. The way I live my life, I do have nervous habits. I am hyperly sensitive to light in particular, like bright light hurts my eyes and things like that. So there's lots of signs that I'm lightly autistic, but not necessarily heavily so. But one of the areas that it influences my life is this ability to have a journey of self-discovery. If that's part of the self-discovery, okay, what do I need to do now? And the homework that my therapist gave me, okay, as you're taking this journey to finding self-discovery, what are the 3 things that you would like to find on this journey? What are the 3 possibilities that you want to explore to see if they're still possible and still what you want? And I'm going to be honest, I'm really struggling with this one. I am really having a hard time. One thing came to my mind real early, but I want to save that one for last, okay, because I'm kind of doing what I usually do when I struggle with something. I think about it for a long time, and now I want to talk about it and talk out loud, and hopefully my thoughts will start to process together. 20 years of being a preacher and preaching on the fly sometimes allows me to suddenly, when I'm in the mode of speaking, to put things together that I normally wouldn't. So I thought about it and I said, well, I would like to know what my place is in the world. What is it I'm supposed to be doing? What is it that I can engage and do and be successful at that will give me a lot of sense of self-worth? Because self-worth is a big thing for me, because as somebody who has struggled with the whole idea of being a sinner in the hands of an angry God, I no longer hold that view. I don't even think sin is real. Sin is something that religious people made up to make people feel bad, and then they'll sell them a cure that actually does nothing. So when I deal with that particular issue and I focus on that, I said, okay, what's the opposite of that? The opposite is, okay, I'm a human being, but as a human being, what is my potential? What am I trying to do? What is it? When people look at me, they say, Ed is a whatever. What is that? I don't know what that is. And so that's maybe one. The other one is I want to discover if I can creatively express myself and have other people recognize the value in that creative expression. And I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I've really accomplished that, not with YouTube, not with my writing, not with anything. There's a part of me that has to be creative, and usually that comes out in writing and sometimes in these YouTube channels. So it's something that's a work in progress. So maybe what is my role that gives me self-worth, and what is my role that allows other people to recognize the value of my contributions as a human being? I want to discover those two things. The third one came to my mind immediately, and I was actually shocked how quick it came to my mind. But as I've been struggling with this, and those other two I'm still trying to define a little bit more exactly. That's kind of the raw form of what I'm looking at. But this one came to my mind really quick. I want to know, is it possible for me to love someone and have someone love me in return? Is it possible for me to love a woman? I am heterosexual. Is it possible for me to love a woman genuinely and have them genuinely love me in return? Boy, do I miss that. It really supercharges the other two things. When I know I'm loved, okay, by someone, and I've experienced this now, one of the things, those of you that know my history know I had an emotional internet kind of affair. Okay, there was nothing physical about it. But the thing that I really miss about that relationship was that I really felt that somebody genuinely cared about me and my struggles, which is something I didn't have in my marriage at the time. And so when I look at that, that's something I want. You know, is it possible for me to love somebody and have them love me in return? One of the issues of dating for me is and now the whole autism angle kind of explains a few things for me, because I'm 20-year minister. I've been a pastor for a long time. I've dealt with tons of social situations. As an introvert, though, I kind of plan my social situations, but I know I'm going into it. I do well in it. That's why a lot of people consider, why I consider myself high functioning with a lot of things, because I can be depressed and sad and still function socially. I can be neurologically whatever with this autism thing and still function socially. The problem is and I've learned a lot, dealing with people through experience and reading, different things about dealing with people over the years. But when I get into a date, all that goes out the window, and I feel like I'm fucking back in high school, to be honest. I hate to swear there, but I want to emphasize how emotionally disturbing this is to me. It just bothers me that much. So my issue at that point is, okay, what is going on here? Because after a date, when I was in Texas, I went on a lot of dates, probably 6 or 7 of them, and all different women. I also had texting relationships with about 3 or 4 women, trying to get to know them better, and all of them broke down at some point. And if autism is a thing for me, then it would explain that, because I'm not picking up naturally the cues that women would give to say that they're interested in me, or we have common interests, common goals, common ground, but we don't seem to connect on that love level. And I got a lot of hugs, I think you're a great guy, but it's just not working out. I had a couple people make dating plans where we were going to go places, and then they just, broke them off after meeting me the first time or talking with me the first time. And, I made a lot of mistakes, um, it got weird. And it was always this, you know what I mean? And so it would explain why I have an incredible difficulty picking on the cues. Like, if a woman is interested in me, I'm kind of oblivious to it, okay? I wrote on my blog, The Gray Wayfarer, I don't know, a month or two ago, am I being flirted with, explaining certain situations. I don't know. I really have to kind of say, with me, you almost have to go out of your way and be a little bit more overt in your intentions with me, because otherwise I'll miss it. I miss those cues. And so the cue has to be much more obvious. And I was asking for some advice on it. And, I haven't had a chance to talk to my therapist about it, but I watched a few YouTube videos, and this one guy says, what you really have to do is be honest and basically tell people that you might be autistic. And so you're not going to pick up on all the social verbal cues, and that you need to tell the woman across from you that you need to be a little bit more direct in what you're thinking. Okay, you need to tell me a little bit more what you're thinking. And I think that's probably the best advice. I haven't dated in a while. God, it's been 6 months, maybe 7 or 8. But I think I may give it another try again. But in my profile, if I'm probably going to be using like some sort of dating app profile thing, I'm going to put at the top, I did, in Texas, I did do one thing. I put right at the top, I'm an atheist. If that's a problem for you, let's end this discussion right now. I don't have a problem with you being spiritual, but understand that I don't have any, okay? And I expect that to be respected. That, got rid of a lot of women in Texas, because there's so many religious people in Texas. And so I'm kind of heading that along with, I am possibly autistic, and so I don't necessarily pick up on cues that you're interested in me. So you have to be a little bit more overt, or you have to simply state that hey, I kind of like you, because otherwise I may not pick it up. And the funny thing is, afterwards, I can analyze all these dates and go, oh man, I missed that cue and I missed that. But it's always hindsight is 20/20. And so, it explains a lot of why I'm having trouble with relationships, and I expect a lot out of them. Maybe my expectations are too high. I don't necessarily expect that I'm going to fall in love with an atheist, because I don't think that's possible. There's just too few atheist women, and I don't want to be guilty of limiting my choices. I watch a lot of women with their profiles, and they put out this list of things they expect out of a guy, no compromises, and it's like over 6 foot tall. Okay, well, you've just limited yourself to 15% of the human male population. They got to have a 6-figure salary. Okay, now you're down to 1% of the human population that is both 6 foot tall and higher and has a 6-figure salary. I think you might be looking at the wrong thing, sweetie, at that point, and I'm just not that. So that's kind of where I am with the homework. So just kind of wanted to share that with you. How am I going to apply some of my personal philosophy to this? Well, there's some things I can control and some things I can't. The autism I can't control. Okay, how I perceive things in the world neurologically is what it is. So what I have to do is figure out what's in my control and how I can adapt to that. Okay, and let people know that they need to adapt themselves to that. So that's kind of my take on this. So I kind of just wanted to share that with you. I'm still struggling with the other two. I want to have a feeling of self-worth from what I'm doing, and I also want people to recognize I'm not so much dependent on their recognition, but then I'll know I'm on the right path with some creative things if I'm recognized. But I also want to know that I can love and be loved, okay, on this remainder of my journey. So in this journey of self-discovery, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I've got to really define the other two a little bit more, maybe put some ideas behind it. But the last one is kind of important to me, because I don't like coming home to an empty apartment, and I don't like, looking for somebody to share my day with and there's nobody. And then knowing that that person is not going to just blow me off, but they're actually going to listen to what I have to say. And then I can listen to them and say, is there anything I can help with? Because I love you and I want to help you with that. And have them accept that. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of this stuff. So I thought I'd just share that with you to let you know that I'm a real person. I have my own struggles. And I struggle to find ways to apply philosophy. And that's a good thing. Your personal philosophy should never be set in stone to the point that you can't engage new ideas and new things and maybe alter it and change it. So that's where I go. Once again, thank you for stopping by. This has been a great episode of Simply Raby with your host, Ed Raby. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you get everything as it's loaded. And so, thank you for all that. And once again, I hope you have a great day.